Hi, this is Paul Carlson, CPA. In this video, we're going to talk about recurring or memorized journals within ProLaw. As much as possible, we like to use recurring or memorized transactions because it makes coding and line descriptions more consistent. By memorizing a transaction and having ProLaw enter the transaction each month, the account coding and line descriptions are consistent over time. So let's jump into a couple examples. So first we have a $90 Microsoft Office 365 subscription. We're going to receive this bill every month into the future. So let's memorize this transaction. So for memorize the transaction and click the recur button. We want to make this a recurring entry. It's going to come in every month. We want it to start May 28th and we're going to have no ending date because this is going to keep going into the future. So click the OK button. And ProLaw creates entries from May 28th up until today. If we look down here into the time bar, that today is September 24th. So ProLaw stopped making transactions as of August 28th. Once we get to September 28th or into October, ProLaw will create the September 28th transaction. In this example, we're starting with an entry that's 4 months prior to today's date. Typically when you create a recurring entry, you won't see anything until the renewal date appears. So what typically happens with recurring transactions is sometimes the amounts change. So in July, if we added a new employee, the subscription would have increased to $105. So we can change that number there, and with good accounting, number of balances on both sides. So now we've changed that subscription. We've changed the entry for the month. To change this so it recurs at 105 in the future, we click on the recur button. We simply say make this a recurring journal with no end date, and we reset the recurring amount. So now it changed August 28th to 105. We go back up and look at the May recurring entry. We can see that by making that change, it set the recurrence as of June 28th. So it's a pretty nice little feature that once something changes, you can change it that easily. For a little more complicated example, let's take a look at this payroll entry. Payroll entries are typically multiple lines, and it's quite easy to cross account numbers. If we can memorize the transaction and get some structure behind it, we might be able to code payroll directly from the payroll journal without using intermediary calculation sheets. So let's memorize or make this payroll entry recurring. Make it recurring. It's going to be monthly and it's going to keep going on forever. And so here ProLaw created the additional entries. What we would do is at the end of with each month close, come in and just change the dollar amounts within the payroll journal. And that way you're only entering dollar amounts and we're not having to type in all the codes and all the descriptions. One thing to note is on this detail section, you can select which columns it sorts by. So typically you'd want to sort it by account number because that should tie into the way your payroll journal is formatted. So selecting the sort order can make a big difference on entry. The other note on payroll is I would memorize the 7th payroll as one transaction so we can keep this line description, and then I would memorize the 22nd payroll as a second transaction so we can edit the line descriptions for that payroll. And so those are a couple of pointers on how we can use recurring entries within ProLaw. Below this video are links to our other ProLaw quick tip videos. And if you need any help with your law firm's ProLaw accounting, use the link below to contact us. Thanks. Bye-bye.